Alright, so I have a blown plug previously paired with this piece of junk, a saver thread. Had it blow out. This is all mangled because I had to take it out, but here's the blowout. It took aluminum with it, so I'm not even going to try to screw that back in. But this is the repair saver thread. This blew out. Apparently these are really garbage, so you want to go with you want to bite the bullet and go with the Time-Sert. Unfortunately, this engine has the damn head with the seat on it. I don't know if I can see it. Down this side, where is it? For the part number. Where the hell is it? Let me see if I can find it. Alright, so we're gonna come down here, the front facing. I got a light on, and where is it? Right there. This is probably recording inverted, but there it is, the 1J2E or whatever. J2E. And here's your header, the headers, and then it's above the header. And again, let's see, we're coming up. Here's the oil fill. There's the oil fill right here. So we're going oil fill down. You gotta have some light down there and there. So I got a blown plug right there. That's the hole. Down there. I don't know if I can get that to focus. Down there. Now the question is how deep is the spark plug? I mean the piston. I suppose you want to do this without having stuff go into the valves. You know, where's that thing? I'll try to stick this in here. See how far this goes down. I can't tell where the piston is. Try blowing air in there and see if it blows back, resists, comes back. See how far did that go down? Oh, I'm still zoomed in. That's on top of that. So that went to I went to the top of the wiring of that injector. Let's see. From the front of the car, I went to my finger. It's about that far. I don't know if that's the piston down or not. I'm gonna try blowing air in with a seal and see if it pushes back on me. Okay, so with that head, the RF1L2E, you need to do the counter bore to chip off the top as this, and then you need to tighten it in there with this Allen. Tighten that in there, and then that needs to go down in there. And they're saying to only cut 5/16 to 3/8. But they also said once it hits the taper, it'll just spin. Once it hits the taper that's in there, it'll just spin. But maybe there is no taper in there, that's the problem. And you have to go down 5/16 to 3/8. So you got to stick it down the hole and then mark off how deep you need to go. Alright, so it was this deep and I got to cut all the way down that far. It seems far. I probably WD-40 to it, ream it for a little bit, and then pull up and get the filings out. Doing this manual looks like it's going to take forever. It almost seems like this is way too much to cut off. Well, we'll see. Also, the reaming tool's diameter, it just barely fits down the hole. Make sure you make that Allen wrench real tight, or you're gonna have to reach down there and pull it up out of there. See, it just barely fits in the hole. And there's a bunch of filings coming off. How much more I got to go? Okay. So I had marked it there, and it seemed like I was way down and I wanted to stop doing it, but I kept going, and it got close to this line, and then it just seemed to stop cutting, which supposedly is when you hit the taper. No matter how hard I pushed down, it wasn't cutting anymore, and the hole obviously isn't reamed out. So I guess then when they say to measure it, it's just so you know around when it's going to stop cutting, because otherwise you do it until it stops cutting. And now it's time for the reaming tool, which is the 5512 bigsert. Now that's for these directions that I'm using. The 5512 is next. 558, then 5012 with the bigsert, because I have that head. And now I have to cut down into there. Also, about every 20 turns I went in and I blew out the filings. And you saw I went down in there camera and you only saw one tiny piece in there. But now the big reamer, now the big boy's gonna go in there and start ripping it up. This is nerve-wracking, to tell the truth. Alright, so on my lines, when I insert the reamer, it goes down to about there. Now let's see how far down it reams. Well, it's going to ream the whole thing out, but let's see how far. It's going to ream out until it hits the sitting cap. Let's see where it is level right there. I wish I had taken a picture when I started with the other one. You know, this is a biased angle. Next time I could come at any time. Let's put it on top of this. Is a level. But still, you could do that. Alright, so it didn't really ream that much, maybe because I had a bigsert and it's just spinning and not doing anything, and now I'm sitting on top of this again, taking a picture, and now it's just spinning. I think it's actually hitting the seat thing. And it's not cutting anything anymore. So now, I guess it's thread time. Which would be that one. Thread, and then that's the expansion. Alright, so I reamed it out. It only got stuff up to about here when it came out. I just blew it out. I can't tell, is it threaded? It certainly seemed like it was threaded. That like worries me. I can't see threads there. Can you see threads? I can't see shit. But it's threaded in. I'll try spinning it in again and see what happens. But next is to go. Oh god damn it. Next is to get this tool attached to this. Jam it in there, put Loctite here, and then go in with this so it spreads the threads out, supposedly. Oh, I hope this friggin' works. Now per that, lock that into there, pressed it in. Now doing Loctite, and that's the hole. There's a little dimple right there on the end there, and then Loctite around the middle. It says around the middle. The wrench. You gotta screw it in, screw the insert and hold it, and it's approximately 20 foot-pounds. Alright, so you gotta stick this Allen wrench all the way down the center, and it unlocks this from it. And you gotta use like a pliers to get this to release. And then it should come up without your insert on it anymore. And we'll see what we got down there. It's like I can't even see the insert. I guess it's seated. I guess it's seated into it. I can't even see the damn insert. And now we have to use the spreader tool. Whoops, damn it. The spreader tool, and you have to apply some cutting lube to it. So this is going to go down and make the bottom of the thread spread out so it's too big for it to come back out. Alright, well I reamed in, and I didn't count to the 10 because I didn't understand what was going on. If I was starting when it starts to get hard. I mean, it says insert it. Screw the driver into the insert. The driver will cold form the last few threads of the insert. This is only 10 full turns. So I don't really understand that, because you start screwing it in and it's not hard yet. I didn't count. It started getting hard. Because I mean, that's what you're really feeling for. It's getting hard. It was hard for several turns. I don't know how many exactly. And then it started getting a little easier. And then I didn't want the insert to go all the way. I didn't want it to go all the way past that lip, because then you're going to have a problem getting it out. So it started getting harder, and then easy on a couple turns, and then I was like, screw it, and I took it out. And then I just went and I stuck the spark plug in there, and I was able to get the spark plug in tight, but I'm not sure if that's all the way in or what. But that's what it looks like now. I'll try to go in there with the camera. I mean, is that the insert into the lip there? It's hard to tell. There's an insert in there. running smooth. So I didn't see the rubber thing in the piston anymore. Well, I didn't see it in there originally. We just hit the hole. Thank God it's sitting right there. So I started up the car. I heard it thump around 3 or 4 times. And then the towel I had over the hole wasn't over the hole anymore. So there it is on the ground. Thank God it blew it out the piston hole. Oh. Okay, so stupid thing of the day. I went and I pushed this down the spark plug hole, but I couldn't see what I was doing because I didn't have this bend in yet. And I didn't realize that this was smaller than the spark plug hole, or just the right size. So I was pushing and pushing, couldn't see what I was doing. Then I felt it poke in, and then I felt that it was all loose. I was like, oh shit, and I looked in, and this was down into the cylinder. So I started pulling it out, and it caught on the edge and did this. Got caught in the spark plug hole like that. I think I took a picture. I tried to get it out, and I couldn't get it out. So I said, screw it, and just started the car up. And I heard dunk-a-dunk-dunk-dunk, which I guess was this bouncing around in the piston hole. And then the noise stopped. And that's when I looked down into the cylinder with the camera, and I didn't see this down there anymore. I looked around the top of the engine. I couldn't find it. I looked under the car. I couldn't find it. But I'm parked on the grass. And thank God it was under the car. I was all worried that this was going to get stuck in the valves or something. Although I don't think they open big enough for this. I was also afraid it was going to melt on top of the piston. I thought that black I saw on top of the piston was this all melted up. How old are you?
6 and 3 inches. I think I have to ask my mom.
Come on, turn. Ay, ay, ay. Dangerous.
No.
Turn.